One of the things I want to do today, and I really appreciate Gertrude inviting me to this forum because there's like three guys or something, right? There's hardly any guys. So I appreciate, appreciate you including me. Um, I'm married, second marriage for me, actually. I've been married for 28 years. Second time around, and I got like 6 kids, so I know something about kids. So anyway, through the years, one of the things that I've done is I started out being in graphics, and then I became an art director, and then I worked my way into marketing and became a marketing strategist, and do something that I would term 360-degree marketing. And I've worked with big corporations, lots of startups, nonprofit organizations, and worked on about 18 political campaigns. So I'm just like a kind of across the board. And during COVID, everybody shut down and, they're all at home, right? I ended up writing 3 books. And I am not an author, but I'm a marketing guy, and I've written white papers and brochures and websites and all kinds of things. And it just came to me that I wanted to do a book titled "Because I'm a Dreamer, That's Why." And I really think that this is an important topic in our culture right now, especially with everything being shut down, especially with so many small businesses being shut down. And I really think that, people's dream has been eroded. Some of the people in my area right here, they've had businesses for 30, 40 years. And because of COVID-19, they've had to shut down. And I think it's a great time to think in terms of reigniting your dream. And I think that, and there was one of the gals that spoke a little bit earlier today, and I'm kind of piggybacking and maybe building even a little farther than what she was talking about, because she was talking about dreams. And somebody told me one time, they said there's 2 kinds of people in the world. There's dreamers and there's non-dreamers. And until then, I really didn't know, I didn't even know I was a dreamer. I mean, nobody ever told me that. Nobody ever, thought about it. You'd throw out an idea and somebody would kind of poo-poo it. And they'd say, oh, that's not even worth thinking about, right? And when you actually begin to discover you're a dreamer and you begin to discover who fits in that league, Walt Disney was a dreamer, right? Started out as a cartoonist. Pretty soon he's designing a city, which is kind of like bizarre, right? Start out as a cartoonist, and then you're designing a complete city with like underground everything. It's like pretty sophisticated. That's what a dream can start. Dreams can start all kinds of things. I always jokingly say, somebody who's a dreamer might say something like this: I'm going to get a Lamborghini. And his friend who's a dreamer says, what color? And then he talks to his other friends and he says, I'm getting a Lamborghini. And his other, quote, friend, unquote, says, oh, you can't get one of those. How are you going to get one of those? What makes you think you could get that, right? And that's the experience. If you're a dreamer, that's the experience you go through with people trying to destroy your dreams. And so one of the things that my book touches on, and it's about 100 pages, it's about 10 chapters. And one of the things I'm going to do real quick is go through the chapter titles. But I want to read something to you, and I've written this in my book, and it's much more succinct, and it's a little crisper if I read it to you than if I just try to tell it to you. But this is a true story, and it's something that actually happened to me a couple of years ago. I went into a coffee shop in Orange County, California, where I live. And I saw a musician there that I was somewhat familiar with. sitting and having some coffee. He was maybe in his late 50s, and he seemed like he was a little discouraged that he wasn't as far along in life as he hoped he would be at that point in his life. And I walked over to him and I called him my name, and I said, you know, I'm working on a rock and roll project, and he was a rock and roll musician. I said, I'm working on a rock and roll project. Maybe we could work on it together. And he said, let me take a look at it. And he took a look at it and kind of studied it a little bit. And then I saw something that was really, really intriguing. I saw a smile come across his face, and I saw his eyes light up. And I said, wow, that's the power of a dream. You know, you can talk to somebody and your dreams can ignite yourself and your own life, but it can also ignite other people's lives when you bring them into your dream, right? You following me? So the dreams you have can ignite in you, and they can ignite others as well. They are power packed. They are invisible keys for unlocking potential. You know, you think about a power of a dream, what it is, and how it starts out. And it starts out almost like a wisp of smoke. It's just a little tiny thing, right? And you begin to embrace it, and you begin to work on it, and you begin to talk about it, and you begin to define it. And all of a sudden, it begins to take on a life of its own. The way I work on my dreams, and Kate, I think you were asking this question a while ago, right? The way I work on my dreams is I'm a Photoshop pro. And, you know, and I work in Word. And when I get an idea, I usually put it into a Photoshop project. Give it a name, give it a logo, give it a branding, positioning statement, and I begin to build it. And right now I'm working on about 15 projects right this second. And they're very, very diverse. And, you know, and I think you were talking about this too, Kate, you know, as you get into your 60s, you know, it can be the most active time in your life for building dreams and things. It really can, because you got a lot of experience, you know, hopefully you've developed a lot of talent, and you got a lot to work with. And, you know, all of a sudden, you know, you can begin to put something together pretty rapidly. I've kind of gone from one to another to another. And like I said, I wrote 3 books during COVID. I've got 1 book that's going for final review at the publisher right now. And then I've got another I'm talking to a major publisher about. And the other one's just kind of sitting in my computer right now. I'm not doing anything with it yet. But one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to read to you my chapter titles. And your dreams are going to start out with something like, I have a dream, right? You just go, I got an idea. You know, I got a dream. You know, you might not even define it as a dream. You might just go, it's an idea. But to me, it's a dream that's been released to you. And I think you have to listen very carefully as you're thinking about your dreams, not to let other people dismiss them, and for you not to dismiss them either. And then the second thing is, dreams are powerful. You know, when you think of Walt Disney, when you think of Elon Musk, when you think of Steve Jobs, when you think of a Michael Phelps going to the Olympics, you know, who said, I have a dream, right? Your dreams, they're going to totally change your life. You'll become a different person. You know, you'll have to become a different person. It's almost like your dreams kind of like magnetize you to your future. And along the way, you have to learn so many things, you know, different skills. When I got into graphics a long time ago, I never thought I'd be on the journey that I ended up going on. And I never thought I'd learn anything about psychology. I never thought I'd learn anything about economics. I never thought I'd learn anything about management. I never thought I'd learn anything about branding. I just never even thought about that. But you know, it's kind of the journey and the process that you go through. You know, the second thing is your dreams make you grow. All of a sudden, you go, you know what? I better read more. I better study more. I better learn some things. You know, somebody asked me one time, and they said, "What are you interested in?" I go, "Everything. I'm interested in everything. I really am." You know, I study some of the best people in the world in many, many arenas, and I'm just fascinated by it, you know? And then the next chapter forward is dreamers versus non-dreamers. And I really think that dreamers operate with faith. And I really think that non-dreamers seem to operate with fear. They're trying to stop people, you know, like maybe they're trying to protect them. You know, like maybe there's a little kid that says, I want to be the president of the United States, right? And his dad goes, oh, you could never be the president of the United States. How do you know that? Maybe they could be, you know? You know, it's amazing some of the people that become presidents, you know, and I also believe chapter 5, dreams come from God. I really believe that little seed that comes into your heart and comes into your mind literally comes from God, you know? And then I think dreams show up. You know, I've had times when I'm sitting on my computer and all of a sudden an idea comes to me. And 3 hours later, I've pretty much got the whole thing laid out. And then I begin to talk to people about it, and we begin to develop a plan about it and think about how we can do it, even if it's a $200 million project. Not something little, but something pretty big, right? And then dreams can die. You can go through times in your life and you have a dream and you're pretty excited about it. And then all of a sudden, your dream begins to, for some reason, could be financial, could be health, could be a lot of people discourage you. Maybe you're not, maybe the right team isn't lining up, whatever. And all of a sudden you find yourself going, you go, I don't think this is going to happen. And maybe you dismiss it. Maybe you put it on your back burner of your brain for a while. And then the other thing that I wrote in chapter 8 is dreams can be rebirthed. You know, it's like vision, death of a vision, rebirth of a vision, right? And then chapter 9 is people come along to help you. There will be people in your life, and I met one yesterday. Somebody called me out of the clear blue. I'm in a network, Alignable, if you're familiar with that. And somebody called me and he said, you're a creative marketing strategist? I go, exactly. He goes, boy, I need to talk to you. And during the course of the conversation, he said, you know, it sounds like you got some great projects and it sounds like you need some funding on them. I said, yeah, I do. He said, I've got a couple of friends of mine who are billionaires and I want to introduce them to you. I said, wow, this is like 4 o'clock yesterday. I went, okay, that's wild. And I said, I'd rather meet with you first and then, you know, maybe meet your friends later. But this is out of the clear blue. And sometimes that will happen in your life. Somebody comes into your life and you just go, what was that all about? Right? And then the one thing is the last chapter I wrote was dreams can change the world. And I start my book, the first chapter, and it says, I have a dream. And you begin with that, right? And let me read this to you because it's pretty interesting. Martin Luther King Jr. gave us a truly unforgettable, iconic line when he delivered his speech on August 28, 1963, at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. King had been preaching about dreams since 1960, when he gave a speech to the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the NAACP, called The Negro and the American Dream. I'm happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation, is what he says. He said, that speech, I still have a dream, is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream, freedom. What could be better than being free to be who you were designed to be free to raise your family in safety, you know, to be free to have children, to be free to grow into the person that you were designed to grow into, right? And most people recall what the cameras caught, King declaring, I have a dream, before the 250,000 jubilant supporters at the March on Washington during a muggy, sun-splashed summer day. But there was one crucial exchange that the cameras didn't catch. King had planned to crop his speech by exhorting people to go back to our communities as members of the International Association for the Advancement of Creative Dissatisfaction. And yet he hesitated when he came to the line in that speech because it just didn't feel right. And then he heard a voice from behind him. It was the great gospel singer, Mahalia Jackson, who was sitting nearby. Tell him the dream, Martin. Tell him about the dream, she shouted. And he began, I have a dream. And we go from there. Did that change racial situations in America for that point in time? Absolutely. Did it need to do that? Absolutely, right? That's the power of a dream and what it can do for you. I was watching the movie Ford versus Ferrari, which is absolutely a guy movie. But if you haven't seen it, oh, that's a great movie. It's an awesome movie because it's multi-layered. I mean, there's so many things that are going on in it. But, I was thinking about Ken Miles and his dream to race. And I was thinking about Carroll Shelby and his dream to race. And I was watching the movie a couple of times, and I'm watching where they're going through some of the straights, and they're going over 200 miles an hour in a 40-inch GT40. And I said to myself, why does Ken Miles feel like he's got to go 220 miles an hour and beat a Ferrari, right? Why does he have to do that? And one of the things I was thinking about is because Ken Miles said, I want to win in something. I want to be able to say, I won. I want to be able to say, what I did today mattered. I want to go down in the history books a little bit, right? And, it's like we look at some of the things that people do that just seem crazy to us, and they just really are saying, I want to win. I want to be a winner. I don't want to, I love what somebody said to me. They said, finish strong in life, right? And, I want to just share, I've got my book's probably going to be coming out in a month or so. And I also have a fine arts project that I did that's 50 American portraits, and it's about Americans, and it's about men. Half of them are men, the portraits, and half of them are women, and they're Republicans, and they're Democrats, and they're whites, and they're Hispanics, and they're blacks, and they're American Indians, and they're really a snapshot of America. And that's at jamessmills.com. And, if you want to go over and see some of my artwork as well, that's a website that I built for that. And it's really about fostering unity, because I think that we live in a day and age where there's a lot of polarization, and somebody's got to step up to the plate, and somebody has to say, let's work together. And this forum right here is exactly that. Everybody's got their opinion. I don't agree with everybody I've heard today, and I'm sure everybody won't agree with me, but I like what I'm hearing, and I like the dialogue, and I like everybody feeling free that they can be themselves. And I think a lot of what we're hearing today is about perspective. And I think perspective is something that's very key in life. So, and I just want to finish with like one thing here. And, you know, everything begins with an idea. And if you have an idea that you're thinking about, write it down. Just write it down. And you almost don't want to run it by too many people. You know, you think you do. You think, oh, wow, I got this fantastic idea. But everybody is not a friend of a dreamer. And dreams are a lot more powerful than people give them the credit for. And in our culture today, the term dreamer is being misaligned with the traditional definition of what a dreamer is, especially in America. And or even in the Bible, you know, Joseph in the Bible was a dreamer. You know, and that whole story in Genesis is about dreams, and it's just absolutely fascinating. So I'm almost done here. And I just wanted to close with something real quick there. But when you wake up one day and you realize what you're thinking about is a dream that's been given to you, something unique just for you, a change begins to take place in you. And I would just like to encourage you today, don't be afraid of being a dreamer, because being a dreamer is like, it's kind of like rare air. It's like you think, and people try to dismiss it. They want you to act like, you know, somebody said to me one time, you know, you're working on your invisible, you know, you're working on your imaginary projects. Can you imagine somebody saying that to Thomas Jefferson? I mean, not Thomas Jefferson, but Thomas Edison. Oh, you're working on your imaginary projects, right? He'd go, look, I'm going to change the world. What, are you kidding me? So anyway, that's my short speech today, and I really appreciate you letting me be part of this conference, because I know it's really about women.